Just 6 weeks after Operation Overlord, the Allied invasion of Normandy, the war in France has slowed to a halt, showing signs of a stalemate as both sides continue to poke at the other's line, hoping for some major breakthrough. After weeks of hard fighting over small gains, the Allies gathered together to discuss the possibilities of a breakout at Normandy, now known as Operation Cobra. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of World War II in the Eyes of the Beholder. In mid-July of 1944, the Allies have been fighting in France for well over 6 weeks. During these 6 weeks, the Allies have only liberated a small portion of the French coast, roughly 50 miles wide and 20 miles deep. The fighting is fierce. Both sides have lost well over 100,000 men in terrible fighting, often only resulting in the liberation of only a few yards by the end of the day. The hedgerows of northern France made clearing land extremely hard, as each row could hide some potential threat. However, after many weeks of hard fighting, the Allies managed to liberate the key port of Cherbourg on June 25, 1944. With this very important city and port at hand, the Allies can divert many men and supplies to the south to help liberate the next objective of Caen. However, this did not quite go as planned. The ambitious push on a bridgehead south of Caen by British troops in what is now known as Operation Goodwood did little more than barely increase Allied morale. Goodwood was launched on July 18th with the hopes of breaking part of this horrid stalemate. However, the 3 penetrating armored divisions were met with stiff resistance and some effective counterattacks, leading to the destruction of over 400 Allied tanks and vehicles. The Allies did, however, manage to accomplish 2 very important goals with this operation. For one, they succeeded in capturing a few dozen square miles, but most importantly, the Allies were able to fix many German units on the eastern half of the Allied bridgehead, leading to less resistance where the Allies planned to break through. On July 10, 1944, British General Bernard Montgomery, an American commander of the U.S. First Army, Walter Bradley, and General Miles Dempsey of the British Second Army met to discuss further options regarding the trouble in Normandy. After some discussion, General Bradley put forward a plan to break the deadlock at Normandy. Operation Cobra was then planned for July 18th. Operation Cobra was a massive offensive just west of the French town of St. Lo. The plan was to focus on the breaking of the line and then the advancement on the 7,000-yard stretch of the front just south of St. Lo. The first step of this major offensive was to be a very heavy aerial bombardment of the planned attack area. The small space of around 6,000 by 2,000 yards was to be bombed by over 2,000 American B-17s and B-24s from the U.S. 8th Air Force. After this heavy bombardment, the 9th and 30th Infantry Divisions were to push forward, opening and holding this small bombed sector, allowing men from the American 1st Infantry and 2nd Armored Division to pass through, breaking the deadlock. This would then provide a small, secured area for the following 6 Allied divisions to bring up the rear, completely obliterating the German line. To help with this major offensive, Operation Goodwood would commence, allowing for a distraction just south and maybe another breakthrough. Unfortunately, after much consideration, the proposed Operation Cobra was postponed after trouble with weather on July 18th. Operation Cobra was postponed until July 25th. However, Operation Goodwood would continue on track, starting on July 18th, 1944. Operation Cobra was postponed one more day on July 24th. Unfortunately for the Allies, multiple bombers were already in the air and dropped their load, some of which landed behind the drop zone on American lines, leading to 150 American casualties. The problem was later revealed as the directions the bombers flew. The bombers flew and dropped their load perpendicular to the Paris road rather than parallel like planned. Thus, the bombers were able to fall into Allied lines if dropped too early. Irene Pyle was on hand to witness the terrifying spectacle from a barnyard about 800 yards from the First Army's frontline position. He wrote of it in one of his articles to readers back home. And before the next 2 hours had passed, I would have given every penny, every desire, every hope I ever had to have been just another 800 yards further back. From then on, for an hour and a half that had in it the agony of centuries, the bombs came down. A wall of smoke and dust erected by them grew high in the sky. Then, when we were horrified by the suspicion that those machines high in the sky and completely detached from us were aiming their bombs at the smoke line on the ground, and a gentle breeze was drifting the smoke line back over us. Just before 12 p.m. on July 25th, 1944, the Allied fleet took off and dropped their deadly load of over 3,000 tons of bombs and napalm. While most of these bombs found their target, more bombs yet again fell astray into Allied lines. This second mishap resulted in the deaths of over 110 Americans and wounded another 500. Regardless of the successful obliteration of the target by Allied bombers, after witnessing these events, General Dwight D. Eisenhower was determined never to authorize the support of Allied troops by bombers ever again. These horrible friendly fire incidents often hide the real success of this bombing raid. The sheets of bombs, for the most part, landed right on target and at the correct time. The bombs destroyed everything in their path, destroying numerous command posts, turning over German tanks, and killing an estimated 1,000 German soldiers in the process. As planned, later in the afternoon of July 25th, the Allied units marched forward, taking much ground, uprooting what was left of the demolished German front. By the 26th of July, the Allies had ruptured the German 7th Army's front line in 7 different spots, pushing deep and fast into German lines. On the 27th of July 1944, General Bradley wrote General Eisenhower, stating, "This thing has busted wide open. Things on our front are really looking good." After a few days, the Germans found themselves in quite a pinch. The 5-mile-long rupture in the lines opened a gate letting nearly 100,000 Allied troops pass through. These troops were able to take and hold several key bridges near the Avranches and secure the gateway from Normandy to Brittany. By August 1st, the deadlock was completely broken. All that was left was the pursuit of the enemy back across France to Berlin. The battle over France was almost won. Even though most German generals saw no hope or gain from a major counteroffensive to the Allies' Operation Cobra, Adolf Hitler wanted revenge, ordering a counterattack at Mortain. On August 7th, the Germans launched Operation Ludic. However, American forces headed east and captured Le Mans on August 8th, threatening the 5th Panzer into the Falaise pocket. Operation Ludic was largely defeated the next day. Later that week, the Allies started to close the Falaise pocket on August 14th, seeking to destroy the rest of the German army in France. The pocket was closed, leading to 50,000 Germans captured and around 10,000 Germans killed, along with around 300 tanks, 2,000 trucks and vehicles, and 300 pieces of artillery. After closing this pocket, the Allies were mostly free to advance to Germany. Operation Cobra resulted in 1,800 American casualties and around 109 tanks destroyed. Operation Cobra proved pivotal to the Allied campaign in Europe, specifically France, breaking the deadlock quickly and efficiently with a comparatively low cost. Though this operation may not have been the biggest or the most well-known, Operation Cobra played a key role in the capture and liberation of France. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video and we hope you learned something. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down with any suggestions you have or what you thought about the video. We look forward to seeing you in future episodes of World War II in the Eyes of the Beholder.